Good afternoon. Welcome to NYNJPA Weather. I'm your meteorologist, Stephen DiMartino, and we had a very impressive ice storm over the interior and some sloppy conditions this morning along the coast, but it looks like everything's starting to clear out now. Let's take a look at the latest observations. Right now, as of 2 p.m., we clearly have an area low pressure that is sitting off the east coast. This low pressure system has produced moderate to heavy snow over parts of the interior and even some light snow last night over the coastal locations. However, now most of the precipitation has changed over to rain, with the exception of portions of the interior like northeastern Pennsylvania, northeastern Connecticut, the central Hudson Valley. Those locations have seen significant ice. In fact, much of northeastern Pennsylvania, northwestern New Jersey, all the way through interior Connecticut has seen anywhere from a quarter to a half inch of solid freezing rain. That obviously is creating some significant problems, not only with travel, but also with the threat of power outages because this ice is on the power lines. Unfortunately, this ice will not be melting anytime soon because even though the warm air has clearly moved into the coastal locations where temperatures have reached the mid-30s to mid-40s, the warm air is not lasting. In fact, the area low pressure that is currently over the eastern Great Lakes and the Ohio Valley is part of an Arctic cold front, and that cold front is going to reach the east coast by tomorrow morning and cause temperatures to crash along with scattered rain and snow showers for tomorrow morning. Let's take a look at the latest satellite picture. Now, I want to show this infrared satellite picture for two reasons. One, we can clearly see the coastal low is developing very nicely with a very strong warm conveyor belt, which is basically what transports the moisture in, and a very impressive dry and cold conveyor belt, which basically means that colder air is starting to move in from the backside of the low pressure system. Classic coastal low development. However, this storm could have been much worse if the cold front that is currently over the Ohio Valley, which you could see here with the colder cloud tops over Ohio, Kentucky, and Tennessee, if that low pressure system had phased just in time for the coastal low pressure as it moved up the coast, we would have been dealing with another significant snowstorm. However, this time we lucked out, and although the interior did get impacted with a very impressive ice storm, most of the rest of the New York City metropolitan area and the Philadelphia metropolitan area changed over to rain, and what started out as a sloppy and potentially icy morning commute this morning is transitioning to a rather wet one for this afternoon and evening. Still, use some caution while driving because with all this water on the roadways, hydroplaning will be an issue. So what could we expect going forward? By this evening, the area low pressure will lift off towards the New England coastal waters, and with it much of the rain and ice. I expect all precipitation to end by 4 p.m. and some clearing out. However, another cold front, as I was discussing, will move through the region by tomorrow morning with scattered rain and snow showers. Now, what I expect initially is some rain showers, but as the colder air moves in, those rain showers will change over to snow showers with some minor accumulations, anywhere from 1 to 2 inches, especially if you're in the northern interior where temperatures really won't warm up all that much. Behind this cold front, Arctic cold air returns, with temperatures falling into the 20s. Watch out for black ice on Wednesday night, and then Thursday is just going to be plain cold. High temperatures in the upper 20s to lower 30s if you're lucky along the coast. And over the interior, forget about 30s. You're going to be in the 20s, and it's going to feel like it's in the teens with winds anywhere from 10 to 15 miles per hour. So it's not exactly going to be a very pretty day on Thursday, and with all that water hanging around on the roadways, there is going to be a significant threat for black ice. Now on Friday, it looks like we have an interesting storm starting to evolve. Let's take a look at the latest 500 millibar forecast from Penn State EWAL. So this is 500 millibars on the Canadian model guidance on early Friday morning. Now the Canadian model guidance is basically an average of all the models put together. Basically what we have here is a phase of a polar disturbance with a subtropical disturbance over the Tennessee River Valley. The European model guidance is the only one that does not fully phase these two disturbances, but at the same time the southern stream disturbance is moving through the southern Rockies this afternoon, and the European model guidance tends to have a bit of an error with holding back this energy as it exits the southern plains. So I'm putting a little bit less weight on the European model guidance. All the other models, well, that's a different story. They create a phase, and as a result, an area of low pressure starts to redevelop off the Virginia and Delaware coast. And that is going to cause problems Friday morning for Philadelphia and New York City. Now, as it stands right now, I don't think it's very smart to put out a snowfall map. And the reason why is because we have to figure out the timing of the upper level disturbance and also the timing of the low pressure system. You see, this is still a relatively progressive pattern. Notice the disturbances that are sitting over the Pacific Northwest and over northwestern Canada. That means that these disturbances are not sitting around, they're going to be moving, and as a result, so will this low pressure system. So I'm looking at a 6 to 8 hour snowfall. The question is whether the low pressure system starts to explode off the New Jersey coast or the Long Island coast. And the difference in that would make a huge difference in the amount of snowfall that falls over the Philadelphia and New York City metropolitan area. Nonetheless, there is still a pretty good potential for at least a moderate snowfall, 4 inches plus, throughout the entire region on early Friday morning on through Friday afternoon. And also, because the snowfall is starting in the morning, accumulation will not be a problem initially. So anything that does fall will stick. The only area that looks like there's going to be some problems with precipitation type looks to be southern New Jersey, specifically from Wildwood down to Cape May. But again, we have to keep an eye exactly where this low pressure system tracks, how strong it gets while it's moving over the New Jersey coastal water, and also how much moisture it's able to pull in from the Atlantic. A lot of unknowns, so therefore I'm holding off before I put out any type of snowfall map or snowfall potential. So here's our surface low pressure system on early Friday morning, and you can see some of the bagginess towards the coast. That means we're going to have a redevelopment towards the coast as these two low pressure systems phase into one storm. Note also that the 500 to 1000 thickness line, which is basically a measure of where the rain snow line is, remains south of New Jersey at 1 a.m. That's an important indication. Basically, in order for there to be a mix, based on this guidance at least, the low pressure system off the New Jersey coast is going to have to intensify rapidly to pull in some warmer air. We'll have to see exactly how this storm evolves again, but like I said, it looks like we're at least setting up for a moderate snowfall on Friday morning. After this storm, conditions get very cold, with temperatures struggling in the 20s on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, which means that, well, anything that's going to fall is going to stay in place for quite some time. And if that wasn't enough, it looks like there's another storm starting to show up on the model guidance that could mean problems for next week. Well, let's do it one storm at a time for now. But clearly we are in a cold and active winter pattern. Thank you for visiting NYNJPA Weather. I'm your meteorologist, Stephen DiMartino. Have a great day.